I want to start just my thoughts and prayers with Coach Smith's family because college basketball lost not just a great coach but a great man. I had the opportunity to, I think it was in '84, a long time ago, to compete against him. But growing up in that era of the end of Coach Wooden's coaching era, and then Coach Smith and Coach Knight, I had a chance to be around guys like that, and I got a lot of friends from Buzz Peterson to Olympic teammate in Jordan to that had nothing but incredible things to say about Coach Smith when we were together growing up playing this game. So it's a huge loss for college basketball. He meant an awful lot to the game and what he represented and being able to kind of establish the Carolina way. So just on kind of behalf of UCLA basketball, I want to make sure that our thoughts and prayers go out to his entire family. Any questions?
How's Kavan hip? It looked like he
Great. You know, he took. I was really worried about it when it happened, but he bounced back really quick. Didn't have any issues the rest of the game, and practiced hard yesterday, so no issues.
What was the biggest difference from your perspective in those two games in Stanford and Cal?
Well, they were similar in a lot of ways. You know, obviously we got bigger leads in the Stanford game, but you know, to have Stanford down 15 in one half and 22 in another half, that's a lot of good basketball that's been played. And then they got hot the last 8 minutes. They got hot and got going, and Cal kind of had a really good last 4 minutes. And you know, that was the frustrating. We've been on the other end of it to where we've had a better 4 minutes. But the home team got going. It was a great atmosphere. Cal had a tremendous atmosphere, the best in our 2 years up there that we've seen. So, and then I went up there with the New Mexico team as well. So the atmosphere was great. They got going. They're hot. They're playing well. But the similarities were that I thought we played pretty well. You know, looking at the tape, our pace is better. We're screening and cutting and moving the ball much better. Defensively, we're contesting shots, which we really weren't doing 3 weeks ago. So I'm seeing young guys improve and mature, and they're having fun. They're playing with a little bit more spirit to them because they're a quiet group. And because of that, they're getting more success. And I think that's been a good thing. You know, we would have obviously liked to got both of them, and we were right there from getting both of them. But when I looked at the tape, it's not technical stuff. You know, we missed, whether it was key free throws or those stuff. There's not a whole lot of breakdowns. You know, the last shot that Tarwater hit was about as contested as you can contest a shot. You've got 6'9" Kevon Looney running at you, and he highly contested it. So they made some plays that you got to make, and we made those plays that you got to make against Stanford. So some similarities, but won a close one, lost a tight one.
This year and last, that second weekend game on the road has been especially difficult for you guys. Is that coincidence, or is it something that second game kind of get tired, wears you down?
You know, I don't know. You know, I think the teams are different. That one's a hard one. We haven't been able to. We've changed things up. One of the constants is we pretty much stay up. We don't come back and forth. So you're staying up there. Sometimes if it's Wednesday, Saturday, it gets to be long. But I think most of the trips so far this year have been Thursday, Saturdays for the most part. So they're not incredible long trips. But, you know, the Oregon trip, we didn't play particularly well on either one of them. And same thing with the Utah-Colorado trip, that being our first trip and different circumstances because of coming off 3 losses going into that game, but that trip. This last trip, I thought we played well in both games. You know, looking at the film again, there wasn't a lot that, you know, we've been over it with the guys, but the effort, the intensity, you know, the spirit of the way we want to play, we got that out of both games. So it's just not easy. You know, I think to get 2 wins in a road, you know, that I think probably takes some time. Last year's team probably a little bit more experienced and capable of it, but in the first year of us as a staff kind of going through it and traveling a little bit different. You know, I've never had travel partners at New Mexico or even Iowa, so it was different for us as a staff. So maybe that a little bit, trying to figure that out in the first year. This year I think it's a little bit different for the team because it's the first trip for a lot of them to these places, and if it's not their first trip, guys like Bryce and Norman and Tony, they're in a totally different role than what they were a year ago. So, you know, that makes some difference too. And then who you're playing. You know, Stanford coming off a loss. You got Cal coming off, I think, 3 wins in a row. Just different demeanors, different mindsets that you get to play, and that has its variables too.
How much did the offense stalling in the last 2 games? How much does that have to do with fatigue?
Again, watching tape, I didn't see fatigue. I really didn't. Now, if you ask me that at Oregon State, Utah, Colorado, especially Utah and Colorado, absolutely. We look like a tired basketball team when we were at Utah and at Colorado. There's no question. But on this trip, looking at it, our pace was good. I think part of that when you're young and inexperienced is who is going to take that last shot? Who is going to be the go-to guy? And we haven't had a lot of close games up until the last several. So maybe that's the team trying to figure those things out. The trust within this team has been incredible of how they've really developed that over the last 3 weeks. So I've liked that. And I like sometimes, the ball moving. And the ball, I thought, moved well. We had low turnover games in both of them on the road. So it's kind of figuring out, okay, we've played for 35, 36 minutes. Now who's going to be the go-to guy? And maybe that's still in process. Maybe that's still, Norman obviously is going to be at the forefront of that. And he does a lot of good things for us, obviously. So Tony inside is going to be that. Kavan can be that. Isaac and Bryce can be that. So we've got a lot of confidence in any of them doing it. But in the flow of the game and tight games, who that guy's going to be, I think the guys are still working through that. But I didn't see fatigue in this road trip like I've seen in previous road trips.
Is there a sense that you guys are kind of entering this final stretch and you can only lose a game or 2 in the regular season to, stay in the hunt for the NCAA tournament?
That hasn't been talked about. Really, we've talked about it being, we've really talked about being a fun stretch to where, we've gone through a very difficult stretch. We were real close to getting our 3rd road win, which obviously would have put us in a tremendous shape. But now you got 5 out of 7. We've been awfully good in this building. We're getting ready to play 2 teams that had their way against us, especially Oregon, in the first go-around. So we've got 2 teams that beat us pretty good in their building. So we've got to return that favor, and that's not going to be easy. But we've been really good in this building, and if we can stay consistent in this building, we'll put ourselves in a chance. I think 2 weeks ago we were in the mid to upper 60s in RPI. Now we're in the mid 40s. So we've done a lot of good work in the last 2 weeks to kind of set ourselves up in the last 3-week stretch. And there's a lot of teams throughout the country, they're waiting on conference tournaments to make it happen. We're 3 weeks to conclusion and we're still in the mix and we're still fighting, and that's always exciting. So we're playing good basketball. We've won 6 out of 7 with Tony in the lineup. He's playing at a high level, so hopefully we can have another good practice today and have a good week. We need a good week. This has got to be beating 2 teams that have beaten us, and that's not an easy thing to do. But if we can get it to a 5-game schedule to where now we're 8-5, we've really put ourselves in a good shape.
Even with the loss this past weekend, is this as confident as you've been with the way the team's playing?
Absolutely. Absolutely right, because I really feel that. Looking at the tape again, I thought I'd see, whether it was fatigue or, a lot of bad turnovers or poor execution or, a lot of things that you see out of young teams, but I didn't see that in either game. I thought Stanford, they're not so deep, but they got a lot of experience, and they gave us the last 8 minutes. They gave us everything Stanford's got, and we withstood it. We probably got a little too cautious as a team, and our guys learned from that. And I thought maybe less than 2 days later, we'd see a drop in energy or intensity, and we didn't. I thought we played even harder with even more intensity against Cal, and so those are really positive signs. And we're seeing guys, I think, being really confident now at both ends of the floor. So I think we're healthy, for a team that's had to play a lot of minutes. I think we're seeing legs come back, and so all those things have been really positive. It's just, the anxiousness now of playing 2 teams that beat us pretty good. We've got to find ways of correcting that going into the next 2.
The situation at the end of the Cal game, that last shot by Bryce, how much of that is something that you script and drill where there's a couple seconds left on the clock and a missed free throw maybe, and how much is it?
Well, I've always been somebody that with less time, I like playing out of those situations. He's got a really good look. I mean, if you look at tape, he got a great look. If he'd been maybe a step closer, it'd been even better. But I thought we did a really good job of rebound, outlet, go. The defense doesn't get a set. If you call, again, you can do it a lot of different ways. But I've always liked playing it out instead of calling a timeout. If we were even, if the game was even, maybe it's a little different. If it's an even score, possibly call a timeout just to make sure we don't turn the ball over. Maybe you throw it to half court and call time. There's a lot of different things when you're even. But when you're behind, the last thing I want is the defense to get set. They can switch 5 ways. They think about fouling. There's a lot of different things that come into play. So being down, if you're down, I like to go with it. And I thought we did a really good job with that. You got to get the free throw block out first. And you see a lot of teams lose on free throw blockouts. So we got that. We got it to Bryce, and he did a really good job of pushing it. And I thought I got a pretty good look at the end.
It looked like on that play you might have had Isaac on the other end of the
Yeah, well, he really did. It's just you make that pass, you don't know if you get a shot off. You've only got less than 5 seconds to go. So absolutely. But if you're a player and you get an outlet and there's 4 seconds, you got to go with it. And I think even if a pass was made, probably Isaac's just getting a runner there or might not even get the shot off. So you definitely want to get a shot off. And I thought he created a really good shot and had a good look at it. Okay, thank you.
Can you sense any sort of sense of urgency around the team that this is kind of the final stretch and you can only afford to maybe lose a game or 2 more if you want to kind of stick in that tournament picture?
Coach went over it yesterday before practice about how big these 3 weeks are, and I think the guys are really focused and determined to make a move, make a push in these last 3 weeks. We know that these games are crucial for what we want to do for the NCAA and set us up for the Pac-12 tournament, trying to get into the where we can get a day off, and not have to play so many games in so many days. But these guys are really focused. I thought this trip was really good for us, even though we didn't get the sweep, the split in the way we played, and just the execution level of our offense and defense was really good. So I think these guys are really focused and ready for this last push.
What did you discuss in terms of NCAA when Coach talked to you?
Just where our RPI is and the best case scenario of a way this week could play out for the league, and where we can sit and how we control our own destiny, and fate for the tournament. I think Coach said our RPI is around like 46 or something like that right now, and it's not going to move up too much if we get a sweep right now because we're at home, but it sets us up perfectly for this next 2 weeks that we have.
Is this the first time you guys have talked about the tournament as a team, like looking ahead?
No, not at all. We've had it brief here and there in our meetings for personnel and things like that, but our main focus is always the game in front of us, and I think Coach is just putting the emphasis on the future because we can't let anything slip away. It's really tight right now, especially the race for 4th place and just the setting up for the Pac-12 tournament. We have a lot of teams who have the same record and a lot of teams who are like 1 game behind us and things like that, so we can't have a drop-off in our level of play, and that's what Coach is trying to emphasize to the team.
The offense has stalled a bit in those last 2 games on the road. Is there a trend that you can kind of see?
I just think that sometimes on the road it's tough to ball movement, pressure, things like that, but I think the team really tried to execute the best way we could, and I just like the effort that we put out there, and those little things that, like the ball not moving, some possessions late in the games are going to work itself out. The more we are able to be put in those situations and practice moving the ball and things like that.
Oregon State likes to play that zone a lot. What have you learned? You've seen it once already. What do you learn from breaking that and trying to get some offense against that?
The ball movement and getting in gaps. Zone defenses make you want to shoot the ball on the perimeter and not attack the basket. They're trying to protect the rim. So getting in gaps, creating and getting in the middle. We know that they like to have a high 2-3, making it look like it's a 3-2 zone. So the middle is really open. So trying to get the bigs, Kavan and Gigi in there, and so they can hit down their 15, 17-footer and move the ball around and just attack the rim.
Is this a game where you maybe need to be more assertive just because you're the guy who would normally be the one attacking the rim like that?
I think it's not only me, but the guards in particular. Last game that we had up in Corvallis was really tough. We weren't moving the ball, we weren't attacking, we weren't getting the ball into the middle, and that's what we really need to do in order for us to get a win because they want to slow the ball down.
Hey, so what's the biggest problem in Corvallis, especially that you can remember?
Just their zone. Their zone gave us a lot of problems. We couldn't get the ball inside like we wanted to, like we planned on. The middle's wide open in that zone that we've watched through tape, and Even in the game, you could tell we could really get the ball there, and we could make plays there. But when guards got the ball there, we didn't do a good job of the little drop-off passes. We got a lot deflected, stuff like that. So just decision making in the zone, a lot in the middle.
How much more assertive do the guards need to be when you're playing against the zone like that to just keep them honest by driving and so on?
Yeah, you gotta be in attack mode. If a team's gonna sit back in a zone and not come out and get you, you gotta be in attack mode. We did a lot of going east and west that entire game. You gotta go north and south. You gotta get to the rim. Gotta get the ball inside to our bigs and then work the ball outside. And that's the biggest key when you're playing a zone.
The first half against Cal, I think you guys had 3 assists against 7 turnovers. What was the problem with the ball movement?
Yeah, we just didn't move the ball very well. Our offense was a little stagnant. We just didn't run a whole lot of stuff. Honestly, we had a lot of quick shots, which is something that we did a lot in the early part of the season, and we've been getting a lot better at. I feel like, yeah, we just had a lot of quick shots, and we didn't really move the ball like we have been.
How much does it feel like you guys are kind of entering a crucial final stretch that maybe you can't lose more than a game or two if you still want to stay in the NCAA tournament field?
Yeah, that's how it is. We're all very aware of that. This is playoff basketball for us. We've talked about it. It's a 3-week grind of straight playoff basketball. We got to try to win every game that we can and set ourselves up going into the Pac-12 tournament. And we've looked at the standings. We know where we're at, and we like where we're at. We're in a good spot to make a run at it. We got the 2 teams that are right ahead of us here this week, so we got to take care of business here first and foremost.
Situation like the last play at Cal, you got a pretty good look on the 3. Is that a drill? Like, you look like Isaac also may have had a shot. If you had time to get it there. Do you know he's there, or how does that work?
Those are those type of situations where we could have. I think we had 1 timeout left. We could have called timeout when we got the rebound or something like that. But it's a hard thing to plan for. We weren't planned to being down by 2 points at the end there. They hit a crazy shot, and then we were hoping they'd miss a free throw, and they did. And I told Kavan, I was like, I got your outlet right here, just so we could get it down. I was trying to get the ball down the court as quick as you can, just to get some kind of look off. I didn't see Isaac. Obviously, watching tape, he was running down the court, but that's a tough play to make when you know before you even catch the ball, you only have 5 seconds, and you're trying to get the ball down as quickly as you can.
If you see him, do you think you pass it there, or is there time to do that?
Yeah, if I had 2 or 3 guys running at me, and I was just trying to get any kind of space just to get a look off. And if I would have seen him, I definitely would have thrown it to him. When I look at the tape, I think when I crossed half court, he just started to get open when I crossed half court, and there was only probably 2 seconds left. So I mean, for the ball to get to him and then him get a shot off, I don't know if he would have got it off, but it probably would have been a better look than I had.
Cool.
Thanks.
Especially motivated for this weekend, considering you weren't playing the last time.
Oh yeah, it does suck that I didn't get to play, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun game. Jamal Reed plays for Oregon State. He's an Atlanta guy. I've been playing with him and against him since I was like 9 years old. So it's gonna be fun seeing him again. It's gonna be a good matchup for us.
You have a pretty big game against Cal. Did you kind of find your groove again after working your way back from the back injury?
Yeah, I did. I did kind of find my stride again, which was really good. It was good for my confidence getting back, feeling like an old man. So getting my stride back was really fun. It was a good game. The ball didn't bounce our way, but we played hard.
Bryce and Norman were talking about how against that zone for Oregon State, the middle is sometimes open. It was just tough for them to get it in there. Is that something you picked up when you were watching it from here? That, man, if I was in there, maybe they could get some entry passes in there.
Yeah, I was definitely watching that. It was tough to watch it from here. It was kind of sucked. I threw a lot of shoes and stuff at the TV, but yeah, I feel like they could have moved the ball better. Real stagnant, like the zone shocked them or something. But those guys can make plays. And Oregon State does a great job with it. That's their defense, and they're playing really well in it. They beat good teams in that defense, so you have to really prepare for them.
Are you guys cognizant of the idea that you can probably only lose a few more games in the regular season if you want to kind of stay firmly on the right spot of the bubble until they turn?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to lose it all, period. So you got to play to win every game, especially in the heat of conference play. You want to beat these teams because they want to beat you just as bad. And you're UCLA, you get everybody's best shot. So you have to come to play every night, whether it's NCAA tournament or not. We have to just come out and play hard.
What do you see in Oregon State's defense that maybe that gives you kind of a matchup advantage that UCLA wasn't able to do without you?
They play a lot of zones, so getting in gaps, maneuvering, using my body for screens, getting guys open.
that's a big thing. In the zone, you have to screen the zone, you have to make the zone react to you. And I feel like that's one of the big things we got to do with moving the ball and setting good screens. Make that zone move, make it react to us, and make plays.
Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot.